So if you know me, you know that I am a huge Star Wars fan. It actually didn't start out with just me. You can actually roll back time to when my dad was young. He uh, he was 3 years old when the original Star Wars came out, but really not much of a story there. You really got to fast track to Empire Strikes Back. His father, my granddad, was traveling during the time for his job, and I distinctly remember when my granddad was traveling, he decided to go see Empire Strikes Back in theater by himself, with my dad being 5 years old, anticipating the movie, wanting to see it with his dad, waiting at home. And he promised he wouldn't see it without him. He'd wait until the weekend was over. But funny enough that someone who's in his 30s can act like the child in this story, and the power of a movie can compel somebody to even go see it without their kid.
Very good.
I remember feeling that sensation that my granddad was getting with Phantom Menace right before the release. I was so anticipated for it, and my dad used to always tell that story about my granddad, but eventually he would go and see the movie with my dad, and the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's father. Just hearing that story about that reveal, because honestly, like, Star Wars has been ingrained in my life so much that I actually don't even remember the first time I saw Star Wars. So, just that sense of surprise was really kind of overwhelming right before the release of Phantom Menace. So I remember going to the theater to see, Episode 1, just all these emotions, like a whole new trilogy to kind of bask in, and walking out extremely underwhelmed. The CGI wasn't what I loved about Star Wars. It was the real, like, puppetry, and the even when the puppetry was in the movie, just Yoda looked awful. Everything just didn't look like Star Wars to me, and that's what really kind of retracted this. I thought this was going to be my Empire Strikes Back experience, just like my dad, but ultimately it was kind of a pile of shit. Ultimately, the trilogy just didn't do it for me like the original trilogy did. The original trilogy really made me want to become a filmmaker, really understanding how these people created these puppets and made these things as almost as realistic as possible, especially with the technology of its time. It really wasn't until the new trilogy that I started to gain that appreciation with Star Wars again, ultimately with The Force Awakens. Film is a different type of art than any other art, and it can really bring people together, and that's what I've always loved about film. That's why I want to make film. The Force Awakens brought back life into Star Wars for me. It brought back the childlike nature that a fantasy world can bring, and really gives me high hopes that when we look at movies like that, and whatever you think about, like, the MCU, movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, where we're getting these ragtag group of people that might not fit in with normal life, and really just making a movie for everyone. These are the types of movies that I love, and those are the type of films I want to make.